Welcome everyone to the BSC News live stream. Today we have a very special guest today. We have Philip Devine, also known as the Croge, the CEO of Cryptoblades. How's it going, Philip?
Hey, good. How's it going with you?
Not too bad, not too bad. And for those of you who don't know, Cryptoblades has kind of been the fastest growing play to earn game on the Binance Smart Chain. So did you want to kind of jump into just like a brief introduction for any new or beginner users for us?
Yeah, sure. The kind of one sentence overview is that Cryptoblades is an NFT crafting role playing game. So you're going to be crafting weapons, recruiting characters that are going to get stronger as you play with them, and you can fight enemies and earn skill tokens.
Gotcha. Yeah. And kind of on that fighting the enemies, combat is where the play to earn functionality really comes into this game. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure. So when you recruit your first character, which there's instructions on our site at app.cryptoblades.io, you're going to receive your first weapon as well, which is one of two elements used to essentially farm for the skill tokens by defeating enemies. So you take a character whose power will get stronger as they level up, which you level up by defeating more enemies. And you can also craft more weapons, and the stronger the weapon that you have, that gets multiplied by your player's level. And there's lots of other interactions with different stats and min-maxing here and there, traits on your characters like fire or lightning, which will interact with the traits on your weapon. So for example, a fire character will be much more powerful if they have a fire weapon. And so there's lots of incentives to kind of shop around for different NFTs, and really just depends on your price point. And even if you're just like a collector, for example, there's lots of really interesting items out there. We have people who collect different IDs, like for example, ID 11111 or something like that. Or I really, I regret even mentioning this because I get a thousand emails and messages about it. But I like to collect the worst weapons, so those that roll the absolute worst +4. It's barely. It's pretty rare that you can get one that bad, but I always have people sending them to me, and I actually have people send them to me for free at this point. So I just have a whole boatload of these +4 swords, which I find pretty funny. But yeah, there's lots that you can do there, whether it's collecting or battling.
Yeah, and that's super interesting. I really dived into the game for the first time last night. I was just kind of messing around. I went ahead and minted a character, and it's
Mhm.
super easy. It makes sense, and it's fun to do. When I was on the game though, well, even to just back up, this whole play to earn concept has kind of taken DeFi by storm, right? Like the market's kind of just been sitting here on this 30K support, and you've had all these play to earn tokens just ramping up and going crazy. Some other ones that are pretty notable have like metaverses incorporated. Is this something where you guys plan to make the game a little bit more interactive versus just like simple dice rolls and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. So some of the features that we're currently working on right now that we expect to be released very soon are the biggest one being raids, which is more of a community-driven, almost like a short-term NFT staking kind of setup, where you're going to take a character and a weapon, you're going to put them into a raid against a boss, and the total combined power that get put against that raid boss will essentially determine if you are able to defeat them or not, with there always being a chance that the raid boss actually defeats the players, in which case they don't receive the rewards. But the rewards include all different kinds of brand new NFTs that we're developing. They can include experience for the players who stake their characters. And experience is really important because that's what makes your NFTs more powerful. As you play more, your character levels up. So the raids that we're definitely excited about, and then also PvP, and which is going to be
Gotcha.
kind of like a wagering system where players can enter the queue and other players can battle against them, and you can battle against other players, and whoever wins, about 85% of that will go to the winning player, and then 15% will go to a pool, which gets paid out to whoever is the highest level, whoever gets the most wins for that level. So for example, if you're level 10 and you've been there for a little while and you've been, kicking people's butts, it's kind of a built-in incentive for you not to stick around in level 10, because you get your bounty, you get your reward once you exit that level 10 arena, essentially. And so it kind of it's self-balancing as well, so that players are incentivized to move up into, okay, I'm in first place, looks like it's time for me to move on to level 11 and see if I can get first place and pick up some rewards in the PvP arena there.
Yeah, gotcha. It sounds like you guys are really trying to push into these like MMORPG concepts and really kind of push the limits there. I really like the idea of like PvP and a ladder system that always makes things interesting and just incentivizes playing through that. Like humans are naturally competitive and we want to be at the top of these leaderboards. And
Right.
so I've seen that you guys have obviously been building this game for a minute now. Kind of how big is the team now? How far has it come along? And when did you guys really first start cranking away on this idea?
Sure. So I would say we really started cranking away at it at the beginning of the year, maybe end of January or early February, and it's really kicked off a lot since then. Our core team, we kind of are very well rounded, where I do a lot of the design, and I own the company. And so with Dan, our lead game developer and Unity developer, he's actually took the first shot at doing the Solidity code, and was able to learn quite a lot there because it was his first blockchain project. And then we brought in Ray, who is a blockchain expert, who basically built it up from there, and was able to take what we built and make it more scalable, make it upgradable, patch any kind of security or ways for players to exploit things in the game. And then we have Kyle, who's our lead front end engineer, and who's also leading our open source development team. So Kyle is extremely talented at leading teams, and especially in an open source manner. So our code repository, including our contracts, including our front end work, is 100% open source. Anybody can fork the repo, make a pull request that they see is necessary, get that approved, and collect a bounty. So we pay out extremely well, I think, for the work that the players do. Because whenever we have issues, whether it's a bug or whether it's a feature, anybody can go in there and take that bounty, put a pull request. If that gets accepted, then that's going to be paid out. So that's really interesting. I think we have at least 50 developers last time I checked on GitHub, but it could be even more. So we have really one of the most decentralized teams in the world too.
Gotcha. That's amazing. It sounds like you guys have your strong core team, and then the community is more than willing to kind of jump in there and test the game and do any sort of bug fixes and put them to your attention, which is great. And I mean,
yeah,
we can kind of just let these numbers speak for themselves. Like your guys' community growth has been insane. Last night I was on DApp Radar and you guys were right underneath Pancake Swap in users. And I checked this morning and you guys have about 280,000 active users. And that puts you guys over Pancake Swap. Kind of, how does it feel just kind of out of the blue in when the market's been kind of slow to just shoot up and now become one of the top D apps on Binance Smart Chain?
yeah, it's exciting. It's not surprising given how we obviously no one can expect that kind of growth would happen, but I really knew that we had something special with this game, and I really knew that we had something special with this community too. I mean, we had thousands of players who were clicking away and battling even at our most difficult times as a project. Our token used to be $1 or so or less even, and there were certain times where players were having to level up past like level 10 or level 20 to even start receiving profit. And what I mean by that is receiving skill tokens at that current day's price that exceeded how much they were paying in gas, for example. But really, our community has believed from the beginning, like, this is a 1 million total supply token, and it would be really foolish of me to sell it for $1 or even $100. We have a lot of players. I think we have 240,000 skill tokens staked on our website, just because everybody knows that this is going to be big. It's going to be bigger even than it is now. So, those kind of speak for themselves as well. I don't have to do much. I can just kind of show what our community has built for itself and do my best to lead them in an open and honest way, and everything else kind of falls into place.
Yeah, and kind of touching on like gas fees, transactions, and users. You guys, I mean, even CZ posted the other day, like transactions back on the Binance Smart Chain are just about touching all-time highs again. And a lot of this is coming from Cryptoblades. According to BSC scan, there's like 300,000 transfers just yesterday. Kind of how does this affect with the gas fees kind of raising a little bit? How does this affect the profitability of kind of battling?
Yeah, it affects it a lot, and it's something that we um, have worked on countless. I mean, we're always working on it, and there were times where gas fees were as high as 50 cents before we had made certain changes and certain optimizations, and we've gotten that down to that 25-cent range. We're actually working on a brand new system now with the help of Binance Smart Chain, due to our game really single-handedly congesting the network. But it just goes to show that how many other technologies out there can scale from zero to hundreds of millions of transactions, over the course of a few days. It just shows the power of blockchain. There isn't any hosted solution out there in the world right now that would be able to handle that kind of traffic and that kind of ramp up that quickly. And so, Binance Smart Chain has been really helpful in being able to monitor that. And one thing that we're releasing, this is the first time really that we are announcing it, is we're making a change to how the fights will be paid for with the stamina. And so fights are going to pay out exactly the same, but users can choose how much stamina that they want to spend. Meaning, if you want to if you have a really high likelihood of defeating a given enemy, you can say, look, I'm going all in on this. I don't want to spend $1, I don't want to spend a couple bucks on gas today. I want to, see if I can just win this battle outright, collect my winnings, and then I only have to battle with that character once. Or you can choose, I'm going to battle a little bit more, because with this change, we're going to be releasing certain kinds of almost like treasure bosses, where very unlikely, or I should say unlikely, enemies to defeat are going to also have a random sword drop with them. So if you fight an unlikely enemy, which is someone who maybe doesn't have a very good trait match against you, maybe it's like they're water and your fire kind of thing. And if you do defeat them, then you'll also have a chance at winning a sword too, which it can even drop as a 5-star sword, which is our most expensive NFT, and typically goes for a few $100s. So I think that's going to be a really exciting feature for players to save on gas and also have the opportunity to win NFTs.
Yeah, and just to elaborate on that a little bit, so users will be able to use a little bit more stamina to kind of offset those gas fees.
Exactly. So to illustrate it a little bit better, right now, players, it's a static amount of stamina that you use, and it regenerates over time. And a given player can battle 7.5 times per day. Right. And what we're going to do is allow them to use up to 5 battles worth of stamina. So really saving 80% on gas costs. They'll be able to use 5 battles worth of stamina all in one shot in order to try to win. And so obviously there's a bit of a gamble there, because you're not necessarily it may be more palatable to win 4 battles and lose 1 than to lose 1, battle that takes up all your stamina. But the idea is that players we give them the tools to be able to know, hey, is this a high likelihood of winning, or is this not a high likelihood of winning? And maybe I want to win, just use a little bit of my stamina so I can try and win this NFT because this boss just popped up. So there's going to be a lot more options in the gameplay, which that's, I think, what's fun about it, is giving players different choices to make instead of just a roll of the dice. They really have options.
Yeah, and it sounds like you guys are really just getting going now. Like, you guys have the momentum, and it doesn't sound like you guys are kind of slowing down. And a lot of this, like with the transactions, I know you guys are in the most valuable builder, and that definitely, it seems like you guys are going to be the people getting the highest kickback from that. And kind of to go even further, I know the MVB2 round is kind of finishing up here. What are your kind of thoughts on that? Do you think Cryptoblades has a good chance of coming in and finishing there?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of different elements that play into it, and they kind of have publicly, stated that some of the elements are transaction volume, community engagement, community size, and we have completely organically, and we've filled up our Discord. For example, we're currently waiting for Discord to up our limit, and maybe actually, I was going to say something maybe dangerous. We have a very active community, and when they want to push a message, they get it done, which is really amazing. But regardless, we have Telegram community, which is active. We have the Discord community. We have our Twitter. We post on Medium often. So we're on quite a few different platforms, and I think that is that they're that Binance Smart Chain is very aware of that, as well as our transaction volume, which is, I think at one point was even 50% of all the transaction volume of the entire Binance Smart Chain. So I don't think we have too much to worry about there. So
Yeah, definitely. And so just to like jump in, I mentioned I'm into the character. I did a couple battles the other day. I think I did like 2 or 3, and I quickly got to kind of level 5. And there are
yeah,
just like a couple of things, like there is a small barrier of entry, of course, because you have to kind of mint these characters. And as of last night, it was around like $25. Are you guys sort of happy with this current entry barrier, or is there like, what is the idea behind that for getting users on board?
yeah. So another more recent development is we enabled a price oracle for the scale payouts, as well as for the price to mint characters or mint the weapon NFTs. And what that does is it allows, when the price goes up, it's still going to be $25 to recruit a character, and the baseline rewards are still going to be based on a predictable amount. That way, as far as dollars go, players would be earning the same amount per battle from now on, which I think is really important in play to earn, that things are consistent. And we had a ramp up time where there was a very high cost to entry and also very high payouts. And that time was very fun. And it was mostly because we didn't want to just cut the oracle on and take people who spent thousands of dollars on characters and not allow them some time to recoup that and earn that back. And so at this point, we are finally live with our oracle, and the payouts are consistent. So it took, I think, about 2 weeks for us to get there because the price just kept going up and up and up for so long.
Yeah, that's actually great that you guys have that oracle, because that's something I was thinking about. I was like, this token is up like thousands of percent. Like this barrier to entry has to be variable, but that makes sense. Just get an oracle on there, and then you guys are able to keep it kind of the same entry for all users across time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and another thing is I was just like messing around with the game a little bit more, and I was looking on the leaderboard. Um, and if I'm correct, I think people were around like max levels currently is like 29 to level 30. Kind of, what is your guys' idea of sort of end game characters, and how long do you guys like expect it for people to start getting to max level?
Yeah, I think I don't have the experience table in front of me, but it's definitely multi years. And of course, people can continue to make multiple characters. And so the max level, I think, is level 255. So there's a lot of room to grow there. And of course, with upgradable contracts, that's one thing that we would decide with the community if we wanted to go higher than 255 once we get to that point. But it's because the stamina is recouping over time at a consistent rate. There's not any way for players to get there sooner, which is what we want. We want people to be able to invest for a long period of time into these NFTs, and so I think right now though I'll have to check on that leaderboard, because I think right now we definitely have people in the 50s, and so
Gotcha.
just something with the smart chain congestion as far as getting everything updated there. But yeah, we've had people playing really since day one. Our initial IDO investors, actually, a lot of them started really just kind of going crazy and creating characters and getting into it. And a lot of them weren't gamers. They're just crypto investors, and they're like, oh, I invested in this crypto game a couple months ago, and I might as well use some of these tokens and have some fun with it. And now they're definitely very happy with their choice there.
Yeah, and kind of just to get into some more mechanics here. Um, what can kind of users do to increase their odds of winning these fights? Like, obviously, you guys kind of have that skill or the likelihood meter, and I think that was unique. I also think it was super cool how you're going to add this sort of, if you fight unlikely people, you're going to win. You might get weapon drops and stuff, because I was like, why would I fight these people? But you kind of address that. But how can people kind of juice up their characters to increase these odds.
Yeah, sure. And you know what? If you don't mind, I'm happy to share my screen too. If that doesn't
Yep.
mess things up too much, I can kind of walk through the game a bit. All right, let's
Yeah,
see
you
here.
should be able to. Because, yeah, I remember looking and there's like elements and all that. Yeah, let me pop that up there for you. Perfect.
All right, great. So can you guys see Cryptoblades here? Is that showing up?
I see it here on my end, so looks like we're good with that.
Great. So kind of just to go over from the top what I was explaining. So we have these characters, and I have Ertund here, who's ID number 1, which actually means he's the second character. So he's ID 0 is the very first character ever minted. But I can select a character, and that's going to be my you can battle with one character at a time. He is a water element type character. And so I'm going to want to find a weapon that has a water element attached to it. I like these ones that have all the same stats. So there are 5 different star ratings for the swords, 1 through 5. And that determines how strong it is and also how rare it is. The rarest is the 5-star sword, which is a 1% chance of being minted. So great, I actually have a water type here, which is very powerful. So I'm going to use Fortune's Etcher here. And once you select a weapon, you're going to have some randomly generated enemies who are going to have their own traits too. And so I got pretty lucky here because there's some fire enemies which are weak to water, just like water is weak to lightning, lightning weak to earth, earth weak to fire. So there's a little bit of rock, paper, scissors action there. The stats have a bonus based on them as well. So you can see that there's a little water icon next to int. That means that if I have a water character selected, I'm going to get a 7% bonus to my power for those for these stats. And you can see I'm going to have my best shot at defeating a low power fire enemy. If I were to pick a higher power enemy, I'm going to get some extra experience. So there's already some benefits built in there, and I'm also going to get some extra skill tokens too. So I'm going to take a gamble. So far, I think I'm like 0 for 3 on live streaming and actually winning battles. So let's see how this goes. It's pretty simple. So this BSC is just an estimate. It's not what you actually pay. It's about 25 cents per battle. And the payouts are always higher than that 25 cents. So even when you come in and start playing from day one, you're going to be earning skill tokens, which you could sell right away if you wanted to at the market price. Or you can hold on to those. You can stake them and get some in-game rewards. And there we go. So I won the fight. I got experience. I got skill tokens. And here we go. I'm going to kind of show you what the earnings look like, which this gets updated automatically. So this is going to tell me what my earning potential is for this character who is level 2. So it's a low level character. If I lose 6 fights a day, then on all 4 of my characters, because you can have 4 characters per account, I'm basically just going to be losing money on bats, right? But even if I only win 2 fights per day on all 4 characters for the whole month, that's still $50. You can see, daily profit for 1 character. If I win all of them, I'm going to win $5 a day just by playing. And that includes the deduction, I believe, for the gas cost. If it doesn't, then definitely correct me in the chat. But I believe it does because we have the B&B prices here. And then you can also just simulate it too. It's kind of a really fun calculator to say, hey, maybe I want to buy this sword that's on the marketplace. And maybe it's an earth sword, but it has really great stats. And it also has bonus power from reforging, which is one way that we burn weapons. So if I calculate that, oh, cool. Like my earnings actually will go up if I buy that weapon, even though I'm an earth or I'm a water, etc. And then you can also change what the character level is. And so if I were to have 4 level 51 characters with a very, very powerful sword like this, we can even give it max bonus power. now I'm looking at $1,900 a month in profit. So you can get an idea of what your return on investment is going to be when you buy the 4 characters and when you buy the sword, because a single sword can actually be used for 4 characters for the entire day. You can't use that same sword on multiple different wallets. It'll get exhausted. Basically, it has a durability, but that durability automatically will refresh, just like your stamina does. And let's see here. Oh, right. And as far as the reforging goes, to kind of increase the power of it, so you can do that at the blacksmith. I could take this sword, which currently has nothing reforged on it, and let's see here. Yeah, I can choose a weapon that I want to reforge. So let's say my 5-star water. And I can choose a weapon to burn. So this weapon is going to go away forever. It'll be sent to the burn address. A lot of times you're going to want to use 1-star or 3-star, 3-star, because those are less desirable. But if you have a really great weapon, it's actually worth it to forge 4 stars or even 5 stars into it. And since we have a quadruple burn bonus going on here, I might even have, now see, I don't even have a, oh, here we go, actually. I do have some sort of, quote unquote bad 5 stars. Like this has pretty low stats. The stats on this one could go up to 400 each, and this one is, averaging just over 300. So I could sell this on the market for quite a lot, but if I wanted to upgrade, this very, very good water sword, which I actually do. So here we go. I'm going to burn a very expensive sword, right on live stream here. Here we go. This is a rare weapon, right? So it's going to tell you, are you sure you want to reforge the weapon? And it's telling you that, let's see, with this weapon, so this is going to get burned.
We're getting to see some end game mechanics here. This is great. Yeah, this was actually a couple things I was curious about, how sort of the reforge mechanism works, but it makes sense now that you're kind of walking through it here.
Yeah, and I'll add too that we have a 4x reforge bonus right now, which means that for every time that you reforge, you're going to get 4 times what you would normally get, which is, or it might be 3 times. Again, correct me in the chat, but it's definitely worth it right now to get those. We call them 5B and 4B upgrades. So we'll wait a few minutes, because the network is a little bit congested, but that's going to go through either way. I've already confirmed it. So once we're done with that, now you can see that my 5B is, yes, that was quadruple. So I actually got 240 bonus power there for reforging a 5-star into this. So it's definitely worth it, especially right now. And it also serves to, get some blades off of the, off the marketplace. So this is our NFT marketplace. It's extremely popular. We actually are the most popular and the most users and most transaction marketplace in the world right now, for any genre, just NFT marketplaces in general. And what's really cool is, on top of being able to sell our Cryptoblades NFTs, in the near future, we're also going to be featuring different game NFT game, game NFTs, and also artist NFTs, really anything. And it's going to be a little bit more of a generic marketplace with the same technology behind it, but the ability to really host other NFTs here, generate revenue from that by allowing them to purchase things with the skill token at a discount, or with other tokens if they wanted to list for BNB, for example. And that's going to give exposure to other game projects too, because we're really interested in innovating in this entire area. It's one of the reasons we're open source. And of course, we can use, we can offer something really special to our players because they can get discounts for using their skill tokens. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. And one thing that I did want to kind of touch on is these rewards right now are fairly high. Like if you have 4 kind of maxed out characters, you are in this range of earning anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000 a month. How sustainable are these skill rewards? Is this sort of on an emission curve currently? And how do you kind of have these pools continue to fill up like the rewards pools?
Sure. So every time you mint a weapon in the at the blacksmith, that is going into the rewards pool. Every time you reforge, that's going into the rewards pool. Every time you recruit a character, that's going into the rewards pool. All of the market taxes, that goes into the rewards pool. I think you can kind of get the drift here. So what we're doing is essentially giving players a really fun experience. And by playing the game, they are creating their own economy. And so in general, the idea is that we will have even more ways for people to spend that skill token, which in turn will mean more rewards for players. And in general, all of these other ways that we are generating revenue, again, will be used to support the play to earn model here. And as far as how we expect the earnings to kind of shift over time, we have been lowering them while we get our Oracle up to date. But now that the Oracle is up to date, they are at a predictable level. We don't have any plans in the short term to lower that. So what people come in and see for now, as they're, if they want to hop on the earnings calculator and see how a certain investment is going to, how it's going to perform for them, they can be confident that that's going to stay that way for quite some time, just due to having the Oracle in place now.
Yeah, and I think that's extremely important, just that these rewards are able to be sustainable. And it sounds like through kind of incorporating this rewards pool, and as you guys put out more features, it's just going to kind of direct more skill into these things. To kind of get close to wrapping things up, is there any kind of big things you want to kind of shout out to Cryptoblades players, or anything they should be looking forward to? Any maybe min-max strategies, anything like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, definitely the players can look forward to raids coming very soon. They can look forward to PvP coming very soon. And of course, the optimizations to fights are extremely high on our priority list. And with that, we're going to be giving them that opportunity to earn some of these awesome NFTs while they fight too. So stay tuned for that, and follow us on Twitter. Join our Discord if you can. It's full right now, but there are sometimes people who leave. And of course, we have a Telegram as well. So if you want to follow us, there's no shortage of ways to stay up to date.
Perfect. Yeah. And before we kind of close this off, I'll open up to the community a little bit and see if there's kind of any questions there. And I see you guys still furiously spamming this secret giveaway word, Cryptoblades. To enter in this giveaway, oh, I just sent the wrong link here. Hold up. Let me delete that. So go ahead and drop your guys' questions in there. You don't have to spam this secret word in the chat. You actually just go ahead and enter through the Gleam giveaway that I'm about to send a link for. So go ahead and enter there, and feel free to drop your questions in the chat, anything for Philip, and he'll be able to address that.
Yep.
And while you're at it, please go ahead and subscribe to the BSCNews YouTube. Follow us on Twitter as well for more live streams like this, more insights into projects and all of that. And it looks like we already have some questions coming through. Let's see. Oh, look what I did. I messed this up. So we'll take, let's see. Let me just kick out all these people that I accidentally invited in. Cool. So someone is asking, is there a chance that gas will reduce eventually? And it sounds like you guys may be trying to work on this.
So gas itself isn't something that we can change, but we can change how we do transactions. So for example, overall, if you really want to optimize your gas usage, then with this new update, you'll be able to battle using 200 stamina at a time instead of only 40, which means 80% less transactions on the blockchain. And what we'll do is we'll scale up the amount of skill tokens that you'll earn so that you can earn 5 times as much, but it will reduce the amount that we have to pay out to overcome the gas fees, and it'll reduce the amount obviously that you are paying in gas fees. So that's going to be the probably the biggest impact there.
Gotcha. So people are asking if we can change the amount of stamina they want to spend on a battle. What happens to the weapon durability? Is that still going to be the same users will still be able to use that across 4 characters for the day?
Yes, it'll be across 4 characters for the day. The weapon durability will scale exactly the same as the stamina used. So all of that will remain exactly the same as it is now.
Perfect. And then there's also a thing here. People are saying that some of their listings may not be showing up on the marketplace. Is this something you guys are aware of or working on? If not, maybe surfacing that.
Yeah, sure. So there's kind of 2 things going on there. One is that with this kind of congestion on the smart chain, we had to put up our own API project, essentially, which pulls off of the smart chain and gets it updated into a database. However, there's always issues with that. For one, given that we're not pulling directly from the smart chain, so there's delays in listings being on there. But the final solution that we're working on, that we're working with Binance on, is being able to allow the nodes to return our market listings, which is the reason we had to move off of it in general. So without getting too technical, once the marketplace is fully back on the blockchain, then we expect that it'll perform just fine.
Perfect. Yeah, and kind of just to wrap this up here, something I was seeing a lot of in the chat, people still don't seem to quite get the Oracle and how that kind of keeps the barrier to entry low and keeps rewards payouts sustainable. Did you want to maybe elaborate on that just a little bit more for anyone who's still confused?
Yeah, so what the Oracle does is it makes it so that if your, for example, base power multiplier on your reward payout is 1% of your skill tokens, or sorry, 1% of your power maybe goes as a payout in skill token. Well, instead of that, what we're doing is maybe 1% of your power comes back as $1 that you earn. And that's just an example number. But what that means is you can predict how much you're going to earn down the line as far as dollars go, regardless of the skill token. And that's even if the skill token goes down, it's going to scale up and give people more skill tokens to offset that. And when the skill token price goes up, then the amount of actual skill tokens you earn goes down. So it's in order to keep that dollar amount the same. And we had, obviously a very painful time of getting the Oracle caught up to the current prices because of that really insane price action. But now that it's caught up, the actual dollar amount that players are going to get from day to day will not change regardless of what the token price is.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I think we can kind of wrap that up there, Philip. This has been a great live stream. I mean, it just goes to show the Cryptoblades community. This has been one of our biggest live streams to date. So thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We might have to have Philip on here in the next month or so if Cryptoblades keeps going at this speed. And thank you for coming on and kind of sharing all this information with our communities.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been really fun.